Hey y'all. What if consistency didn't have to mean burnout? That's the topic we're exploring today in the Sustainable Visibility Workshop. If you're new to me, I'm Crystal 2Geek'd, CEO and visibility strategist of 2Geek Marketing, where I help wellness entrepreneurs ease into the spotlight through strategy, style, and signature video series. Today, we're going to focus on why most consistency advice fails and why it's not your fault, simple strategies to stay visible without sacrificing your well being, and how to plan content that you'll actually want to create and post. I'm currently live streaming this across LinkedIn, YouTube, and my latest platform, Substack. So no matter where you're joining from or if you're watching the replay, I'd love it if you left what's your biggest struggle with showing up consistently. And so thank you for your patience, y'all. Um, I was having a little bit of issues getting the live started at first. So it looks like it's not going to be attached to the original event, but I'll make sure to add links in the right places so that way you all can get this replay and hopefully you're able to see this where I have directed it. I've went ahead and left some comments on LinkedIn and Substack. So hopefully you all will be able to find it. And if not, the replay will be available for you. So, let's get into it. If you and so while you're doing that, leaving in the comments what's your biggest struggle with showing up consistently, um, I'm going to set the stage for today. I'm going to go over the focal points I mentioned earlier, which is why most consistency advice fails, simple strategies to stay visible, and how to plan content that you'll actually want to create. And I would, as I'm doing that, make sure I'm going to share with you all an upcoming challenge I have that I believe can help you with this, and then we're going to close out with Q&A. So if you have any questions you want me to answer live, just leave them in the chat as they come to you. There's a bit of a lag from when I stream, so this will allow me to have them populated for when I do Q&A at the end. And if you're watching the replay of this, still leave your questions as you watch, and I will try to respond to as many as I can. Or if it's an extra good one, I'll be sure to make a video on it and send it directly to you as well as to my general audience. All right, let's get into it. Why most consistency advice fails and why it's not your fault. In a nutshell, it's because most advice around this topic involves having you show up every day and often multiple times a day. And the audience I tend to speak to are wellness entrepreneurs, business owners, and a lot of us are not natural content creators. And I say most of us because some people thrive with doing both. But many of us went into business to do what we love and just kind of find out that means we also have to make sure enough people know about what we're doing so we can keep it all going. And so I get why people say like show up every day because the more you are top of mind, the more likely you're going to get business, and you're going to show up at the right place and the right time for a client to work with you. But without a team and or being like someone who, again, naturally creates, that can be really difficult to keep up and maintain. There's all other aspects of the business we have to keep up with. And especially if you are a healer, a coach, you are spending a lot of one-on-one time with your clients. And so one of the things I like to say is consistency is unique to you. So one of the ways that you can help overcome this is really define like what consistency means to you and what is actually required to reach your goals. So this looks like asking yourself, do you have a team? How many people do you need to reach, right? Some of us only need to have a couple clients in order to reach our goals, maybe a couple of monthly retainers, while others of us need to reach hundreds of people. Maybe we have a product-based business, and we need to reach a lot more people. So depending on the goals that you have, that should start determining like how often you actually need to show up, not just like how often we feel like we need to show up. And so um, I would love to know in the comments, let me know, do you actually know and do you have that data of like when you show up, how often that leads to leads, how often that leads to clients? And so that can also give you an idea of, well, like if you are showing up twice a week and you're getting a steady flow versus when you show up for times a week, right? And this also is determined by the platform that you're using. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but different platforms tend to require different modes of frequency. And so, next, we're going to talk about how you can really uh, be able to achieve that increased frequency if that platform requires it, while still without sacrificing your well being. So, simple strategies to stay visible without sacrificing your well being. First of all, you really have to know yourself and where you thrive. Are you someone who loves like in person conversations? Are you someone who prefers to be a little bit more behind the scenes? This is going to go into helping you know where you need to place your energy. There is a lot of advice, a lot of great strategies out there, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't work for you. And so this may require you to do a little bit of experimenting. Maybe you don't know where your strengths lie. Maybe you don't know which method is most easeful for you. And then you have to do that upfront work to figure that out. But once you do, then you can really start to lean in that, and then you can find more strategies and tips and tools that focus on that way. Because there is so many ways to thrive, y'all. Like that's why there are all these different coaches and people who teach all different ways. So, like, if you, again, someone who prefer in-person events, more about networking, there you can definitely thrive that way. Many businesses were built before social media became so widespread, right? However, also, if you are someone who maybe it works better for you to be at home, maybe it works better for you to share online, then you can definitely thrive that way as well. There's more than one way to thrive, and maybe you do a bit of both, which is ideal. So that way you can build trust with people in person as well as really have a place where people can refer you to online. Like that is, to me, the ideal way to really have that easeful visibility, but still approaching it in ways that work for you. Another strategy that you can use is multiplying your content. And so for me, when I talk about multiplying your content, I'm talking about repurposing your content and cross posting your content. And so a lot of times, what people will do is they'll post something one time and then they're like, okay, cool, it's out there. Now I got to find something new, when really you can really multiply that piece of content, and not just that piece of content itself. Let me explain. So let's say you created a YouTube video, a long form video where you are talking about a topic, right? And so with that, like, yes, you posted that video. Now what? You can take that video and you can put it into snippets and you can, continue to share it that way. Maybe you share about that YouTube video again, but you use a different caption. You share a different angle on it. You bring it back up some months later, right? Another way that you can multiply that content is maybe you only shared it on one platform and now you're going to share it across other platforms. And then you have one of my favorite ways is really deconstructing it. So again, back to that YouTube video, you can take that audio, and if it's something that doesn't involve a lot of visuals, you can add that as like a podcast episode or an audio. I've been using Substack a lot lately, and I love that they have the audio feature where you can literally just upload an audio or record a new one and use that as your content. And you can also pull that and have the transcript and our summary, create a blog post from that. You can create emails, you can create captions. There's so much you can do with just one piece of content. And so if you are someone who wants to maximize your time, like you want to look at how can you take one piece of content and turn it into many, so you don't have to constantly keep creating, and you can have, moments where you are batching content, doing some concentrated amount of content, and then you can use that throughout your main platforms. You can use that when you're speaking, when people ask for content to share about you, so many ways. And again, you can also break it down where it is an audio or written piece of content. And then another way that you can be visible while sacrificing your well-being is to leverage other people's stages. And when I say stages, I don't necessarily always mean like literal stages, but this can be other people's communities, other people's newsletters, other people's events, all that good stuff. And you can play around with this. So you can ask and request to give some type of workshop to someone else's community. And that's going to be a win-win for them because their community is going to benefit from your expertise and they're going to benefit for having something of value that they can use to keep their community engaged. You can ask to, have your event or your freebie or maybe even your offer shared in someone's newsletter. There are a lot of different directories and things that you can join. And then also events. The cool thing is if you're doing an event and there's multiple speakers, the event itself is going to be doing marketing, right? And so you can leverage that as well. So you can have their marketing. And then when you get to the event, if they have those people taking footage and stuff, and now you have content from doing that as well. So really a multiplier. So those are just some ways top of mind that you can stay visible without sacrificing your well-being. This is how you can be able to leverage other people's resources in case, especially in the case if you don't have like a big team of your own. And then next is how to plan content that you'll actually want to create and post. And so this looks like I teach something called easeful content styles. So you have the word weaver, you have the natural talker, and then you have the storyteller, the visual storyteller. And so, depending on your easeful content style, and I'll leave a link. I have a whole video that goes like deeper into these easeful content styles, but it's a little bit self-explanatory. If you are a word weaver, you're someone who prefers to express yourself through writing. If you're a natural talker, you like to speak. That's me. And then if you are a visual storyteller, you might be someone who prefers like graphics. Maybe you do like video, but it may be more point of view type video behind the scenes, that kind of thing, right? And so you can really lean into your easeful content style and find a platform that matches for you. So going back to like, let's say you are a word weaver, platforms like Substack and LinkedIn is really great place where you can get out longer form content, and people are actually going to be engaged with that and want to see that, right? If you are someone who is a natural talker, maybe you like audio notes, podcasts, things of that nature, right? Um, Outside of actually like being a guest speaker or creating your own podcast, you can use platforms like again Substack. They have audio that you can use. Threads has where you can easily create audio posts. Those are kind of ways that you can lean into that audio part. You also do audiograms. Depending on the platform, those don't always do as well. But that's why I like, again, Substack and Threads have natural ways that is built into their platforms to really just, just do a voice note and share. And then if you are a visual storyteller, all these platforms really work for that because pretty much all the platforms now have some type of video element. But especially if you are someone who wants to do more voiceovers, point of views, things like that, Instagram, TikTok, things of that nature, it works really well for platforms like LinkedIn. They tend to prefer you doing like more face-to-face content, though there are some spaces where voiceover works, but it tends to still be combined with some face-to-face. But again, Instagram, TikTok, that more behind the scenes point of view, day in my life content works really well. And so, again, this is all about finding something that matches with the way that you naturally communicate, because then it's gonna be easier for you to put that content out. It's gonna be easier for people to see you, and you want to be able to do that with ease. And so another thing is to like actually plan out your content. Like it sounds simple enough, but scrambling to figure out what you want to post when you feel like you just need to get something out can really kill your creativity and really breeds mediocre posts, which makes you not want to create again because then you're not going to see the results that you want, right? And so it again sounds very simple, but even just creating a a plan for the week, for the month goes a long way because it starts to help you know like how to prepare. You start putting things on the calendar, which allows you to start creating the content that you need, and then also gives you that breathing room to evolve. Um, it's so many times where I have this idea, I start to put it into motion, and then once I like kind of get it out, I'm like, oh, wait, this can be changed this way, or oh, I know an even better way that I can give this example, right? And so as you start to do that, if you have that buffer, you already planned it instead of doing it the same way, that gives you that breathing room to be more creative and to also really think about like how can you spread out this content, right? Maybe you wanted to approach it one way and then you found, and then as you gave yourself that room to breathe and create, you're like, oh wait, I can also use this for this newsletter, but I should probably add XYZ so that way I'll have more talking points for that, right? So that is definitely a key way. Plan it out. There's something that, the same post, doing it the same day, it just takes a lot more energy and effort than when you do it even just a couple of days before. And one of the other ways to just make the content planning process and creation process more easier is to get the support that you need, right? There's so many people who is not it's not that they don't necessarily want to create content, but maybe it is a part in the process that holds them back. So maybe you're fine with filming, but the editing part like really gets to you. Or maybe it is, you can kind of get through that part. Maybe it's something as simple as adding captions. Maybe it could be like actually posting to the platform and making sure that you're posting at the right time, adding all the different features to help you uh, be seen by the different algorithms, that kind of thing. Maybe it's starting with the ideas, right? Maybe you are good when you have that clear plan, but you need someone to kind of help you get that strategy in mind. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments, what are some things that normally keep you stuck in the creation process? And so, again, as a recap, um, the ways to really kind of show up visibly, sustainably, is to really look at what consistency means to you and what it can look like for your actual bandwidth, what team that you have, what tools that you have, and going from there. And consistency, I realized I didn't like, again, it doesn't necessarily have to mean showing up every day. Certain platforms like LinkedIn, like you can definitely do 2 3 times a day. And because the amount of people compared to who are posting compared to the amount of people who are on the platform, you're going to stand out even from doing that, right? And so really looking at that, like that as well, when you're looking at a platform, which platform is going to require more out of me versus less. A platform like YouTube, you can post on there weekly. You put out really good posts, and you can, post on there weekly and really start to see traction as well. So these are also things that you want to keep in mind when you are determining the platform and determining like what your energy level and your bandwidth is. And the thing is, like, if you are someone who is posting once a week, that and you do that for a year, that is still more consistent than if you post 5 times one week and then you stall a little bit because you run out of ideas and then you start back again and you stop and start. Not only does this make it harder each time you restart for the different algorithms to show you to people, but also people don't always know when to expect to hear from you. And so, again, even if that consistency for you is that once a week type post, at least people start to know, like, oh, I can know that I can expect to hear something from this person, from this brand once a week. And that can go a long way than trying to create a system that doesn't work for you. And also, you can start off small. So, again, let's say we're talking about once a week. Maybe that doesn't look like the same hour or day, right? Maybe that just looks like as long as this week, maybe you say by Friday, I'm going to have that out. So maybe it comes out on Monday, maybe it comes out on Thursday, but you have it set like, okay, by Friday, I'm going to have XYZ out. That can still be consistency. You really just want to start with where you can. Look at your schedule, look at your resources, and that is how you build that up. And so the next thing was really if you want to stay visible without sacrificing your well-being, that looks like getting support. So knowing yourself, multiplying your content, and leveraging other people's stages. And then when it comes to planning your content, lean into what your easeful content style is. Again, I'll leave a video with more information about that, and plan it out and get the support that you need. And so, if this sounds interesting to you and you're like, okay, that's good and all, but like you need that extra support, like we were just talking about, to actually make it happen, I have an upcoming challenge called the Sustainable Consistency Challenge. It is a part of my posted video series that I am hosting in my Introvert Video Breakthrough community. For those of you who are new to the community, here is a little information about it. So, this community is one that is all about helping wellness entrepreneurs get out of their head and in front of their audience using video content. And so, with this upcoming challenge, we're actually in prep week right now, and then the actual challenge is going to start on the 6th. So, you can get 4 weeks of consistently posting. Here is a short video that tells a little bit more about the challenge.
Theme is all about sustainable consistency. And so I really want to have this challenge where we are figuring out like what is a good consistency flow for us, right? Because I don't know about you all, but I love challenges, and I've done a bunch, and I'll do like the 30-day challenge, and sometimes I'll make it through and I'm like, yeah, but then I'm so drained because that's not my natural flow that I like fall off even longer. Or sometimes I don't make it through and then I kind of feel bad and I beat myself up. I'm like, why can't I had, done XYZ? And so that's not what this challenge is about. This challenge is about finding what is sustainable for you and what actually works with your rhythm. Because some of us are caretakers, some of us are for us, right? Because I don't know about you all, but I love challenges, and I've done a bunch, and I'll do like the 30-day challenge, and sometimes I'll make it through and I'm like, yeah, but then I'm so drained because that's not my natural flow that I like fall off even longer. Or sometimes I don't make it through and then I kind of feel bad and I beat myself up. I'm like, why can't I had, done XYZ? And so that's not what this challenge is about. This challenge is about finding what is sustainable for you and what actually works with your rhythm. Because some of us are caretakers, some of us are working jobs, like whatever that is, but that doesn't mean that you can't create an impact and create content that you can leverage for your business, right? And so we're going to do a prep week the week of September 29th. And then the challenge is going to start on October 6th. And so they'll give us 4 weeks of actually like posting content, whether that is once a week, twice a week, more. Maybe if you're using a platform like YouTube, maybe that looks like a monthly series or a bi-weekly series for you, right? Really, the goal of this is to figure out like what that looks like for you, and then how can we make it easier. So basically kind of the next step from this overcome the overthinking and like working together and being able to actually create a rhythm that works. Because when we do this, this is what helps also build trust with our audience. Because if someone's new to you, they might be interested in what you have, but they may be like, who is this person? I don't know if I don't know if I trust them. But if they see you consistently showing up, regardless if again, that might be, it just really is about of how fast you want to go. Because you can show up every month for a year, and that's definitely going to build trust and consistency. Like people start to know like, oh, every month she's going to do this or they're going to do this. And that is awesome, right? And that is still a way that you can build consistency. If you're doing something every week, right, then that's going to get you attention faster. And if you're doing something every day, even more so. But again, it really depends on your bandwidth. What else do you have going on? Do you have a team? Do you not have a team? Are you tech savvy? Are you not using the right tools that work for you, right? So you really have to figure out what works for you. And that's what we're going to be focused on. This is going to look like weekly co-working sessions and lessons, but really going at this together and figuring out how to have a consistent rhythm, so that way we can be putting out things that we feel good about, that is attracting our ideal audience and also feels good to us.
Alrighty, y'all. So I talked about in that video like what that breakdown looks like. So each week we're going to have a different theme for the week, and then there's going to be daily prompts attached to those themes. So right now, like I said, we're in prep week, and so we're all about planning your content. We're actually going to have our first live session for this challenge tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you end up joining us, you can definitely be able to get some information there, and we're going to go more into detail around actually creating a content calendar. And then week one of the challenge, we're going to talk about auditing your content. Week two, track your content. Week three, amplify your content. And week four, how to multiply and sustain your content. And so I'm so excited about this. Um, it has been really awesome just seeing how people are navigating and growing in the group. And so I'm really excited about this challenge because, again, I'm someone who has experienced many challenges and just like that like challenges work and they really help you get out of your comfort zone. But as a business owner, I also want you to find something that is going to continue to work, not just like a one-off thing. And so that is why I'm very passionate about this and helping people find a rhythm that is going to work for them and actually last. And then you can always do more depending on what you have going on. But this is going to give you that baseline so you can start building up, because the thing is, the more that you do, the more that you're going to start to see like, oh, you're going to start having more of a bandwidth to do more because you're going to start getting those creative juices flowing. You're going to start getting into a rhythm, and it's just going to become way easier than it might feel like now. And so I would love to help you be able to do that. So again, if you would like to join us, you can head to postthevideo.com, and that is where we are hosting the group. And that's where the challenge is being held. Currently, this is a paid community. However, I do have I have a free trial going on right now, 7-day free trial, and that is going to be going on until October 12th. And then, so you can go ahead, come in, attend one of our weekly sessions for prep week or week one, see if this is right for you. And if so, you can continue to join us for the rest of the challenge. So there's really no risk to even just try it out and see if it is right for you. I would love to have you there. And even if this is not for you, please share this with someone that you think could benefit from it. And so now let's get into Q&A. I'm going to see if there is any questions. Let's see. I'm going to look at the different platforms. So I got that. Let me see about LinkedIn. Go here. And so if you have any, leave them in the chat. And like I said, even if you're watching the replay, I will be going back and answering them. Okay, and then let me just look on YouTube. I know that there is a little bit of a lag and maybe some confusion because I had to do this on a different event. Alrighty, y'all. So again, if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Until next time, y'all, stay geeked and fabulous. Talk to you soon.